Hi, this is Sherry Andrea, and thanks for listening. Um, just a little disclaimer, if you hear any background noise, me and my son were doing things at the same time, and I'll explain it later, but he doesn't have a bedroom door, so we can hear each other clearly when we're doing things, recording video, streaming. So please ignore any background noise. First of all, it's been a while now since I talked about many of the things I talked about in the beginning of my journey. But empathy is something that just keeps coming back. The reason why is I either know so many people or meet so many people that are discussing the things that are going on in their life, and it seems like a lot of times we end up back at that subject of empathy. Or somebody will be talking to me and they'll be like, you know what? I was telling a friend about you because he was telling me about some experiences he had and how he just, almost seemingly overnight started having these experiences where he was picking up on what was going on with other people. He was feeling the emotions of other people. And it's always funny because they always say the same thing. They say, oh, but my friend said they didn't ask for this. They make that statement like, well, I didn't do anything. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. I didn't call this to me. I haven't done anything different in my life. So why now do I have this thing going on? Empathy. Well, first of all, you've all got to know it was always there, whether it was manifesting in a huge way that you noticed or that, even better yet, got in your way. But sometimes it got in your way and you didn't even realize what it was. I'll give you an example. One of the traditional jobs that I used to have was at a DMC, which is a destination management company, event planning basically. But it's geared on that one city, So like conference planners who are planning to do a conference in Orlando would use our company to plan it because we're a destination management company, handling Orlando and the areas around Orlando. So, I'm working in a company, I would call it mid-sized. It's family oriented. It was family run. It was started by the daughter and then in her attic, in her parents' house, I guess. And it kind of, when it took off, all the family members jumped in to help run it. I thought that was awesome. I thought, every family should do something like this. But anyway, so I'm working at this event planning company. And I started out in sales as a sales associate, assisting other salespeople, doing proposals, booking arrangements, things like that, talking to customer. But I have had a background, I always have had a background in computer science. I went to school for computer science. Many of my first few jobs in life were, after starting work after high school. I was in retail, but after going to college for computer science, most of my jobs were as computer operator or something similar. And I had taught, when the internet first was new, when it wasn't visual, it was just black and white. I started learning to create websites. That's when I first taught myself HTML. So at this company, there was a director of IT, and he didn't know anything about computers, knew nothing about web design, nothing about anything computer related. And I would always go to him. Nobody in the company really liked him, but I would always go to him. I was nice to him. I didn't see anything wrong with him. He seemed like a nice guy, and I would chat with him, and I would tell him about some of the projects I was working on for myself, how I taught myself HTML. I would show him, what I'd done. And, at that time, a lot of people thought the internet was just going to be a fad, that it was going to be something that, just didn't go anywhere and died out. Well, I was always begging him to work for him, and he's like, there's really no need. And I was telling him, I can help with, support for when other employees need help so that you don't have to be constantly running around. So I can work for you. I can help you because I have the experience. you're more of the, I can run things, I can project manage things. I said, I can actually do things. So eventually I wore him down over a month. So it took a while. And he agreed to part-time let me start helping him out. And from there, it just grew, and I became eventually a full-time IT person. Well, let me tell you, it was great, but there were some downsides too. I didn't realize at the time that I was really an empath. I knew something was up with me, and I'd always known my whole life I was different somehow. Because I can remember earlier times in preschool when I could hear people's thoughts. And so I was very introverted, and everybody, parents, other adults thought I was just super, super shy and just scared of my own shadow. It wasn't that. I was confused. Because I would hear what people would say, but then I would hear their thoughts. And often their thoughts contradicted what they were saying. So as a child, I was just freaking confused. And so that's why I never said anything, never opened my mouth, didn't know what to do. In this situation, what do I do? In that situation, what do I do? I never knew, because I was hearing conflicting things from people. So I'm working at this job, and every time I turn around, I was getting called into my boss's office, and I was getting written up for stuff that was like crazy stuff I didn't do. Like, for example, one time, one of the salespeople came to me and asked me a question. I had my own office at that time. She asked me a question, standing in the doorway of my office, and I answered it. And I thought, that's all that's to it. She asked me a question, I answered it. Next thing I know, I'm getting called into my boss's office. And when he told me who complained about me, it just floored me, because I was like, she's so nice. We get along so well. Why would she have a complaint against me? And he was like, well, she said she went to you, asked you a question. I go, yeah, and I answered it. So what more to it is there? And he said, well, her complaint was she felt like you made her feel stupid. She felt like you were talking down to her, like you knew more than her. And I'm like looking at him like, really? That's her complaint about me? I made her feel stupid. I just answered the question. And what was it? And later on, I did figure it out. When I started doing like YouTube videos and things, and I would practice, I would talk a little about a topic, and then I would stop it and I would watch the video. I went, oh my gosh, I know what she's talking about. One of the reasons why I don't like doing videos showing my face is because it's not only about your tone of voice, it's also about your, how can I say, your demeanor, the way you look, the way you move your mouth when you talk, the way your eyes move, everything. And people read that. You can end up just by body language, by facial expressions coming off. You can accidentally come off condescending when you don't mean that at all. You're not trying to be that way. But see, the thing is, let's take it a step further. This wasn't just about my body language, my facial expression, how I was saying it. This was about my empathy. As empaths, we're a mirror for other people. Okay, check it out. You probably know what empathy is. It's when you can pick up the emotions of others as though they're your own. But see, let's take that a step further. You're actually a mirror for other people. Imagine they come to you, and when they come to you to talk to you, they don't see you. You're holding up a mirror in front of you. And who they're really looking at and dealing with is their own selves. This is what empaths do. We don't not only pick up emotions, we are projectors of it. So we don't just take it in, we also put it back out. But what we're putting back out is what we take in. So really, it was something about her own self that rubbed her the wrong way when she dealt with me. And now, of course, you're working a traditional job and your boss calls you in and wants to write you up. You can't explain that to him. You can't go, Well, Mr. So and so, really what it is, it's my empathy. And I just have a mirror for her, and she was just looking in that mirror and she didn't like what she was seeing because maybe there's some things about herself she doesn't like. Okay, you really get written up then. You try to explain that. You can definitely be counting on getting written up. So it was a struggle, and I didn't even know that that's what was going on. So it's even worse. When you know what's going on, you have a chance to do something about it. Like back then, I could have simply worn a citrine bracelet, citrine necklace to tone down that a bit so that there wasn't that much of that going on. I could have not only worn citrine, I could have worn hematite to keep me grounded, and a protecting stone like onyx, black tourmaline, something, or snowflake obsidian, something like that, to kind of tone all that down. But see, the problem is often when it starts getting in the way in your life, you don't even know what it is. You don't know that it's because you're an empath or you're highly sensitive. So it is, empathy is a struggle, and it was a struggle for me. And the thing is, I only have myself to thank for it, because after the internet was, a little bit older and there was more information on there, I was finally able to go on. Back then it was just, I think, Yahoo. Go on Yahoo and research and look things up. And around that time is when I got attuned to Reiki 1, 2, and Master. And reading the manual and learning about meditation and chakra work, that eventually led me to going, aha, I can open up my chakras and I can, for once and for all, finally figure out if I really am an empath. And that is what I did, because I felt like I just had to know. Because how can you help yourself if you don't know what's going on with yourself? If you don't know what's at play in your life, if you don't know what's basically, I'm sorry, I have to say it this way, if you don't know what's screwing up your life and what's getting in the way of your relationships, whether they're with coworkers, significant others, siblings, how can you help yourself if you don't know what you got? So it did help in a way. I mean, yeah, you might say, well, aren't you kicking yourself in the butt now because now you open this up purposely, but now you got to deal with it. That's true. But still, yeah, you're going to be some days wanting to kick yourself like, why did I go down this road? Why did I do this? Believe me, I say that so often. Why? Why did I do this to myself? But I do think about it and I think, yeah, Sherry, come on. You know you wouldn't want it any other way. If you hadn't done this and you were still going down the path you were going down, I don't know where I'd be, but I know I'd be miserable. And I wouldn't be living life as my true self either, because I would just be probably feeling like, yeah, I'm just the weird one out here and don't even know why. So I don't regret it. But if you're an empath, do yourself a favor. First of all, get some relief. Start by get a citrine bracelet or a necklace. I love using that app, Temu, Temu. Oh man, they have so many precious stones, bracelets, necklaces, rings, everything. Or you can buy loose beads, make it yourself. There's nothing better than, get a little creative. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Hey, if you're a man, I'm sure you can string some beads on plastic cord and tie it in a knot to make a bracelet. If you can do that, you can make your own crystal jewelry. On Temu, it's pretty cheap. And often you can get free shipping. If you're spending at least $10, you can get free shipping. And it doesn't take that long for the products to get to you. So do yourself a favor first. Tone that shit down. Let's do that first. You got empathy running rapid. Don't make your first step being the research. Make the first step being, let me first help myself. And then once I've helped myself, then if I want to, I can do more research and I can learn more about empathy. Now I do have, if you search Sherry Andrea empathy. You'll find lots of videos that I did on empathy, going into great detail on what it is, what chakra affects it. The heart chakra is the main one that affects it. If you're working on your heart chakra, or you have something happen to you that's major that affects your heart chakra, like having your first child, getting married to the love of your life, something that affected your heart chakra, you may find that it opens up all on its own, where you don't even have to do anything. Just it opens up, and then just suddenly you're like, why am I going through this? Why am I feeling others' emotions? Why am I so strongly now picking up on other people, relatives, etc., no matter where they live in comparison to me? They could live 3,000 miles or more away from you, and you're picking up on them. And the thing to consider is, you want to be careful, because often people that have empathy also have clairsentience, which is clear feeling, which means you can feel, not just pick up emotions, but you could physically feel what another person is feeling. You could feel energy in any kind of way. That's what allows you to be able to feel like if a spirit touches your head, brushes your head. That was one of the first experiences I had, of feeling like somebody just like rubbed my head from my forehead all the way back down the back of my head, or a hug from an angel. The clairsentience is what allows you to feel that. And often, keep in mind, people with strong empathy, often also their clairsentience opens up. Now all of a sudden they can feel all this energy all over their body, and they don't know what it is. Or that, that energy, that tingling that goes down your back, that goes down your spine, or it makes you like it feels like it makes you like shiver all of a sudden. Yeah, that's clairsentience. So I just wanted to say, I don't regret empathy, but it takes you a little while to get to that point, because there was a time where I was very, very tortured by it. But you got to hold on through that, because it will tone down. But toning it down is more about not fighting back against it, but actually kind of embracing who you are, because it is about who you are. If you can't embrace who you are, you're not going to be able to deal with it and get to a point where it all balances out and you feel like you're just normal. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this talk. If there's anything specifically I can talk about regarding empathy, just type a comment. And when I read it, I'll make sure, if you want me to do a video on a specific question about empathy, I'll do the video for you. Okay, well, thank you for listening and giving me your time. I hope wherever you are, you have an awesome, awesome rest of your day. Thank you, and namaste.